There we go. All right. If I clicked all the buttons right, we're live and people can hear and everything is good. And we can watch the cat now. This is what everyone's
We
here for.
can't.
Very
It's
important.
Rolo.
Anyway, welcome to episode 167. Anyway, just got to get it out of the way quickly. Um
There it is.
yeah. But yes, I've done a lot of episodes. That's a number. Yeah.
That is a lot.
It is a lot,
Yeah,
a lot of
long running.
people. It's a lot of speedrunners out there, which is cool. I like that. The number can go on forever.
Yeah, there's
The
so many more.
and then the number will outlive me at some point if it were to continue.
It's true.
Anyway, enough about the podcast and how much content exists about it. Um, you're on the show. Tell us about
Hi, it's
you.
me.
That is you.
Yeah. So I'm JCog. I am obviously a speedrunner. I've been speedrunning since like 2018, and mostly known for Paper Mario. Yeah,
It's a good game. Actually,
it is a great.
fun fact, I have never played the game. Um,
Really, you
and
should.
well, I'm not done with my sentence.
Oh, keep going.
I've
Sorry.
never played until actually to prepare for this, I started playing it.
Oh, let's go.
I am quite hooked on it. It's pretty good.
I mean, yeah. How far have you gotten?
I am almost at the end of chapter 6.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you
I
really got into it. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I have like 22 hours of playtime. I really yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a reason I decided to speedrun it. It's just a really good game.
makes sense. Yeah. I get it. I definitely get it. Um, but yeah, my Paper Mario experience was just Super Paper Mario as a kid, like halfway through the
Okay,
game,
okay.
and then also for about an hour as a kid, Sticker Star. So my experience wasn't very great.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
So I'm actually playing, the original intended Paper Mario kind of experience,
Yeah, yeah.
and I get it. I get
Even
it now.
yeah, even Super Paper Mario is also good in its own right, but
Oh, it's
it's
great. Yeah.
very different. But it's
Yes,
very
it's very
different
different.
from the original and TTYD, the sequel,
Hmm.
which is also very good. Which, if you like
Yes.
the first one, you'll definitely like that one.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's basically the exact same formula, obviously a little more improved on or whatever. At least that's what
Yeah,
people
it's like
say.
it's basically exactly what a sequel should be. Just like take what worked and just keep adding to it.
So, it's definitely on the list for the future, but I do got to finish up what I'm doing here. But no, it's a great game, and I don't usually like have a guest and I'm like, you know what, I'll play the game that we'll talk about. But
Oh, well, I'm honored.
I needed a reason to like set up my N64 for some stuff, so it just worked out
Ooh,
perfectly. And yeah,
nice, nice.
so I will not be completely blind for once talking about something, so that's good. I'm completely blind to the speedrun actually. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
pretty yeah.
It's very glitch heavy. It's not quite
That's what
on
I've
like an
heard.
Ocarina of Time level or something, but it's yeah.
It needs practice ROMs, needs many
Yes, yeah,
hours of dedication.
yeah.
I
Which thankfully we have one. We have one now.
mm,
We didn't when I first started.
yeah.
Um,
Well, speaking of first starting, I guess we should actually, start how the shows usually go. So, you and speedrunning, how did that begin?
yes, so it was so Paper Mario before I got into speedrunning. It was just like it was always one of my favorite games, and it was kind of like a thing where I would just kind of do a playthrough of it, maybe once a year or so. And then I remember, yeah, back in like 2017 or so, I was vaguely aware that Twitch existed, and I just thought like, wait, does anybody play this Paper Mario on Twitch? And I went, and I don't remember who it was. I don't even think that they kept with it. I think it was someone who was just trying it out. But I remember finding someone who was speedrunning it on Twitch, and I just saw them doing like different glitches and stuff, and it like kind of blew my mind. And then I got into it more, started watching other people do it, and then in 2018, I was just like, I think I could probably do this myself, and it turns out I was correct. So started with glitchless, which is still a great place to start with the game. It's about um, once you've gotten a few runs under your belt, it's like about a 4 hour run, so like a decent commitment, but still doable. Um, and yeah, so I started doing glitchless, started getting pretty okay at it, and went from there.
hmm So what's like, I guess starting off with the glitchless, how does the speed tech work exactly? Because obviously it's primarily, RPG style elements. Obviously there's a bit of platforming in there, but it's not
Yep.
like I have seen like Mario RPG for example, and it's kind of different, especially with its movement around the overworld areas. So,
Mhm. Yeah, so the movement, so you've got like the spin with Z, and that's
mhm.
like the main uh, method for uh, moving quickly. And there's actually like a higher skill ceiling to it than you would probably expect. Like so spinning locks in your directions, you have to like pick good directions, and then you actually want to jump with good timing to avoid like the end lag. Um,
Mhm.
so it's just like spin jump,
I
and
noticed
you're
me
also
doing that while playing naturally. I
yeah,
like
yeah.
picked up kind of the timing to like get optimal movement.
Yeah, no, it's it and it changes because there's also a badge you can get, speedy spin, that makes
Mhm.
your spin go faster and farther. So you
Also,
have
I
to
have
like
that, yeah.
yeah, good, good.
Mhm.
You got the
I'm
speed
learning.
badge. Yeah, yeah. When we get it, that's actually a pretty big well, a decently big RNG point. So whenever we go to buy it, there's three badges. There's four total badges that can appear in the badge shop, but only three slots. So there's a
Mm,
25% chance that you're not getting it first try and losing like 25 seconds every time to reload the shop.
wow.
Um, yeah, but no, it's a combination of like actually higher skill ceiling movement than you would expect potentially, and then also the battles. It depends a lot on what category we're doing, but like the bread and butter for most categories, other than the shortest ones, is a badge Mega Rush. I don't. That one's actually decently hidden. I don't know if you would have found that. But it lets you do +4 damage when you have exactly 1 HP,
Mhm.
and and that applies to like, if you're jumping, that applies to each individual jump. And so if you combine that with power bounce and
Yeah.
maybe a jump charge, you can charge up a bunch, do a whole bunch of damage in peril. You're running around at 1 HP a lot of the time.
Mhm.
So
It's like red bar, but
yeah,
for a very different purpose.
yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I think I know the badges you're talking about here. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I know it's very important to like stack them in certain ways depending on the situation. Obviously, that would play a big factor in the run. But they let you have a lot of badges. I thought it would
They
keep going,
do.
so I've been pouring all my stuff into badges and then it locks you at 30. I was like, "Aw. This is so
True, yeah.
sad."
You can't equip all of them, but I mean,
Tragic.
there's like you're pretty much gonna have enough BP to do more or less what you want. I would
Yeah.
say. There's 80 total badges. I don't know how many. I don't know how much BP that adds up total, but um,
A lot.
a lot. Yeah,
More than 30.
definitely more than 30. That's for sure.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's a fun mechanic. I don't think I've ever really played a game with that sort of mechanic built in. Not that I could think of
yeah.
anyway.
Oh, also, well, I'm thinking about it. The One of the nicest things, especially for an RPG, is the fastest way to advance the text is to just hold the B button. There's no text mashing at all in the game.
Mm.
Uh, I literally, do I have a, yeah, I literally have a clamp that I'll just like put on my B button, for longer cutscenes, and like that's hey, free bathroom break in the middle of a run, It's great.
Wow, yeah, I didn't know that was a method. Obviously, when you're casually playing for the first time, you're not trying to skip all the text. But
Right, right.
the rare occasions I have been, I've been mashing A. So good to know, actually. Now I
Yeah,
know the
that
secret.
even if you did that like frame perfectly, it's still slower than just holding B.
Wow. Well, yeah, the more you know.
Yeah.
That's fun. So, I guess, just continuing on with your journey, starting from glitchless, what came of that and where did it go?
Yeah, so I knew pretty early on into running it that I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this a lot and I'm getting, decently good at it. And so I started learning some of the different glitches so that I could do was what was at the time known as any percent.
Hmm.
Uh, Lots happened since then. We have arbitrary code execution. We can warp to the crits now, so now it's any percent no ace. But there, I don't remember exactly which. Yeah, okay, I didn't. I did. Okay, I'm getting into the weeds here. But so for glitchless, we of course have to like go through all of each of the 8 chapters, beat the boss at the end, do the peach cutscene, etc., etc. But for any percent no ace, we actually, and even back then, don't defeat a single chapter boss until chapter 8. We enter chapter 8, I believe, at level 2. So I was learning glitches to uh, basically skip the entire chapters. Like in chapter 5 in the volcano, that one ends up being like a really easy glitch where you can just kind of spin in between Colorado and a wall and hammer, and he'll just push you out of bounds and you can skip past.
Hmm.
And then there's also, and that get I'm jumping ahead of myself. And we skipped straight to chapter 5 itself with one of the most uh, famous glitches in the game, Blue House Skip, where you can just frame perfectly jump on a corner on the I think it's technically called the Odd House, um, but it's the Blue House in Toad Town, and go in backwards and just go straight to uh, chapter 5. And so I was learning how to do all these things, which at the time wasn't super easy. Like I just had my vanilla copy of the game. I did have, it was Japanese at least, so I was getting like uh the speed boost from that. Just it's mostly just the text. There's a few version exclusive glitches, but so I was just learning based on like having to go wherever I needed to, and just practicing whatever I needed. So practicing was pretty difficult back then. Um, and I wasn't doing any of the like hardest glitches at first, but um, loading zone storage, which I'm sure I'll talk about not too long. I wasn't doing anything like that at first. But yeah, so learning how to skip all the bosses and then get to chapter 8 where you essentially what a lot of the speedruns end up being, especially once you get to the highest level, is just an RNG fest where it's like, okay, I did my part, I made it to the boss, time to pray that this fight works out, because unfortunately using uh the risky fights tends to be way faster.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, I ended up starting just to kind of get used to that. And yeah, I remember definitely that it was any percent no ace that I learned first after glitchless, the first glitch category. Um, and yeah, I believe at the time, uh, yeah, a sub 2 hour run I think was pretty good for a beginner, and so I was able to uh, get that. It's I don't remember how quickly, but um, yeah, and I don't remember exactly what categories I started to learn from there, but I've done all of the categories in some like at one point or another. But that was whenever I started getting like really into the game and into the community. I started I did get an EverDrive, which we still didn't have a practice ROM at the time, but there were some Game Shark codes that existed that made we could at least like warp around to different rooms and set our story progress to like different states to be able to practice things. So started getting, just started investing more, I guess, in learning the speed run and getting better. And um, feel free to cut me off at any point here.
Hey,
But
you're here
was
to
that
yap. I'm here to listen. So.
all right? All right. Um, I do remember. So one of the first things that I did as far as like contributing to the community, I so Bowser blocks in Chapter 8. Not to spoil you, but the
Oh
final
no,
boss is
no, it's fine.
Bowser.
Oh no.
And his blocks are actually fairly difficult. Like I'd say if you're a beginner and you want to learn like say you just want to learn say glitchless, you can pretty much just walk through like sight read the route all the way through to chapter 8, and then you'll get to final Bowser, and if that's how you're doing it, that tends to be a wall for beginners because the Bowser blocks are fairly difficult to hit. They're all the same frame window, but just the visuals for the timing can be difficult.
Hmm.
And it's pretty inefficient to practice, especially since he's doing a bunch of damage and stuff. And so one of the first things that I contributed is I learned how to make Game Shark codes, and I figured out how to. I made it so you could like press. I think it was like press different D-pad directions, and it would pick most of the time. It was a little buggy, but most of the time it would pick which attack Bowser would do next, and also I could combine that with like an attack to freeze your HP at something above 0. And so that way you could just, it's like, okay, this one attack that he does pretty rarely, like the lightning move, I can just practice that over and over in a row. So that was on, at least for me, that was pretty huge. I don't know how much other people use that because you had to have either a Game Shark or an EverDrive, but um, yeah, I definitely remember that as being one of the bigger early contributions that I made. Um, And also, yeah, this whole time I was doing pretty much exclusively Paper Mario. I don't think that I really. I'm trying to remember exactly, but I don't think that I really did many other games for probably a few years. Um,
And remind me again when you started, like yourself
uh,
running.
yes. So February of 2018
Okay,
was when I started.
got it.
Um,
So been
yeah,
a decent while.
yeah. It's been what 8 years now, a little over 8 years.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and then
good amount of time.
yeah, and then I think probably the first glitch that I bothered to try and pull off, that was like exciting enough for getting it the first time that I remember posting a video of doing it to like just a recording of doing it to Twitter, was Junior Skip. So in prologue, when you fight Junior Troopa the first time, you can actually skip that fight, but you have to do loading zone storage jumps, LZS. And so what those are is so if you jump into a loading zone, you don't actually take the loading zone until you've been on the ground for 2 frames and or 1 frame while holding the analog stick. So
Mhm.
what you can do is jump into the loading zone and then frame perfectly go neutral on the analog stick and push A to jump again, and then well, okay, so you're going neutral before landing, and then you hit A to jump and the analog stick direction, uh frame perfectly, 30 FPS game,
Mhm.
for reference. And then you keep chaining those jumps. And in that, so right there, if you chain, I don't know, around 15 or so, depending on how good they are, all the way over to the bush where the hammer is hidden. You will get the bush, or you will get the hammer, and then immediately take the loading zone to leave the room. And so you can skip the entire fight. But like yeah, all those jumps in a row. So I remember the first time I got that, of posting a video of it, and that LZS is used, especially like at the for we have routes now to like make sure beginners don't have to learn that,
Hmm. I
but
was gonna say that sounds
yeah,
pretty
no,
hard.
we want people to actually be able to get into the game before they decide they want to learn that stuff. But yeah, so that huge time save and also gets used in a lot of other places, and it's in almost any category except for like not obviously not glitchless, not all bosses because you have to we consider him a boss.
Hmm.
Um, but it saves it, depending on the category. It's like around a minute. So stuff like that.
And it's
So
right at
it
the
was when I
start. So
yeah,
yeah.
and it's right at the start. It's the first you go from like 0 to 100 with just regular movement, running around, and a bunch of frame perfect jumps, and then back to normal stuff. But yeah, so I learned that, and I I don't I definitely I would jump around. I remember this. I would jump around with categories a lot. So I One of the nice things about Paper Mario is that there's enough overlap between the different categories that like getting good at one category generally also directly translates to other categories, but it's still different enough that it doesn't just feel like you're, doing the same thing over and over. So that was how I kind of kept it fresh for myself, just switching up categories like maybe once a month, once every 2 months or so. Um, and so let's see, what else did I definitely did. I definitely still did a lot of glitchless. Actually, so I'm jumping around a little bit here, but so glitchless was definitely my bread and butter for the first couple, probably the first like 2 years or so of streaming, because I also happened to get into it at the time, as a few other people that are now still I'm really good friends with, and we would just all the time we'd be doing like glitchless races, uh, in VC, which was just it was just a really good time, because it's like obviously like it's a long enough category that like we pretty much all knew based on our skill level what places we were going to finish in relative to each other before we even started, but it was just it was just a good excuse for hanging out. So I still was always doing lots of glitchless runs, regardless of what other category I was doing. um but I would jump around. So there's any percent no ace. There's all cards, which is basically the all chapters category. The cards referring to like the Star Spirit cards
Mhm.
at the end. There was any percent no Peach Warp, which is kind of a legacy category, where can't do this one glitch called Peach Warp, which is depending on how you define it, sort of a wrong warp that lets you skip chapters 6 and 7, pretty much entirely. Um, which was created whenever Peach Warp was found and people wanted to be able to do the old category. Um, I remember learning 100%, which is kind of weird in the game because the game definitely doesn't tell you. There's the chalkboard in Mario's house,
Mhm.
but if that's all you do, if that's all that you're going for with completion, you're still, it wouldn't feel like 100%, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know there's a
there's
lot of statistics. It doesn't like show you that very obviously feel like it should be part of it.
Yeah, yeah, like it wouldn't require that like that wouldn't require you to, well, I guess you can define it based on like menus and stuff, but it wouldn't require
Mhm.
you to like upgrade all the partners to max and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to like beat the dojo, like beat the master. Um, but so it's kind of, and even these days the rules are kind of in flux a little bit, or it's kind of in a weird position where we all agree the rules should probably change, but we can't really agree on what they should be, and nobody wants to kind of mess with that for a category that's not the most popular, but and it especially since like whatever we decide is going to drastically change a complicated routing process. But anyway, I did that category, which was fun. Which was fun. You do have to do all 64 Quizmo questions though,
Hmm.
so that can be a bit of a grind, especially since it's there's a pattern to it, but it's still random if he decides to show up.
Yeah.
Um,
Now you're playing in Japanese, right? So, are the like answers
yes.
always in the same spots?
Yes, you
Okay.
always get the answers are always in the same order, always in the same spots. So I would just have like a checklist that I was
Okay.
going
Yeah.
down because I can't read Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. My point. So I'm glad that's consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
That would make things harder.
Oh, I just remembered. This is so long ago. I forgot that this is how it started. So whenever I first began, I was actually running on WeVC because that was the only version of the game that I had. Um, and surprisingly, Wii is actually a bit slower than N64.
Oh.
It has faster load times, but it lags in a lot more areas, and the lag actually ends up completely canceling that out. And
Hmm.
also, there's so few specific locations where it lags so much that it can skip frames. Notably, fighting Lantern Ghost and General Guy in Chapter 4. So you can be in the middle of like trying to do an action command, and if you miss that casually, like, that's annoying. But in a speed run, we have this routed to where you need to hit these action commands. Uh,
Wow.
and so I pretty early on, I think within like a month or two, was like, okay, I'm gonna actually get an N64, which is no, I was gonna say it's still the N64 that I used, but it's not. I did end up getting a different one because I wanted a pretty one. It was just like a boring gray one. I wanted one of the like is that what they're called? Fantastic, I think.
Yeah, I've got a blue one.
Yeah, I got a black one, which I got that one just because I was able to get a decent deal on like a matching controller
Mm-hmm. Yep.
to go along with it. And so
I've got the blue one, matching controller,
the blue
matching
one.
EverDrive. I went
Ooh,
all out. I
ooh,
changed
I
my
don't have.
LED light to be blue. Like I,
Ooh,
my Hori's
you went all
blue.
out.
I have a Hori for Mario 64. It's also that color, except all the ones they made have like a white bottom, but like the top part is the same color.
Ooh. Okay,
So,
okay.
but close enough, you know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
went.
close enough. Close enough.
I was very particular, we'll say. But yeah,
Yeah, no, it's I don't know, it
it's
just feels good.
fun.
It's good
It's
to
in the
have.
name.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It is.
fantastic. Anyway.
Exactly. It honestly, that aesthetic of just the slightly see-through electronics needs to make
Hmm.
a comeback. I guess we
Yeah, I love
sort
it.
of have the same thing with like PC towers or see-through, but it's
Yeah,
not quite
but
the same.
you know, like I even want to modify some old consoles I still have with like transparent shells. Specifically the Super Nintendo.
Oh,
I want to do like the same thing but
oh,
purple. Yeah, oh my
oh, that
god, it
looks so
looks so good.
good.
It would
Oh,
look so good. They don't really sell the purple shells anymore. But one
no.
of these days.
One of these days. Ugh.
But yeah, I love the aesthetic.
Yeah.
TLDR.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Um, uh, but yeah, so anyway, so I was just doing Switch N64. I haven't looked back. There was a while where I mean, it still is technically the case that Wii U is actually well, Wii U or Switch now are the fastest consoles, but they kind of just suck to play on.
Mm.
And it's been a huge thing. We don't need to get into it. The
I
like
know the
how
Switch has built-in input lag. I assume that's annoying to deal with.
the input lag, audio lag that's just
Ooh.
native to the emulator, as far as I
Mm.
can tell, which seems to be a thing on PC emulators too, as far as I can tell.
Hmm.
So I don't know why, but very annoying to play with. And also just like Nintendo being Nintendo, just the controller options are always kind of bad.
Yeah.
Probably the best they've had recently is like the official N64 Switch controller. I'm told that's pretty good. Haven't
Mm.
tried it. Um,
I don't know. I've tried
but
the NES controller and it added more input lag. So
did it?
I don't
Oh
know if that's the
wow.
same with all their like classic re-releases, but yeah, I was like, well, why is this worse? How do you
uh,
do that? Well, anyway.
yeah, but Wii U specifically is especially bad because it likes to drop your inputs all the
Oh,
time.
great.
So in a game all about like hitting action commands with good timing, and where I think technically what's going on is it requires you to hold the button slightly longer before it registers it for some reason. And it's only on N64. I've done
Hmm.
Wii VC for other consoles, and it's only N64 where it's bad. Uh, but I don't know. They nailed it with Wii. If the Wii was a more powerful console, like especially with you can just plug a GameCube controller in and it works great.
Hmm.
So if it wasn't for all the it being an underpowered console for emulation, honestly, that would potentially be the ideal console to play on, especially with like the ease of with homebrew of getting all the versions you need and stuff.
Hmm.
But anyway, we have it now where on the leaderboard consoles are separate, so we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about like, oh, we use technically faster, but all the competition is on N64. So
Yeah, that was going to be
I
my
guess so.
next question: is if you separate the leaderboards. So
We
makes
do.
sense.
Yeah,
Makes
we
sense.
didn't for a while. I forget exactly when we switched it, but it was not that many years ago. Um,
Yeah, I'm
I would.
always for separating them when the gameplay is affected based on the hardware. Like I
Yeah.
have a special thing in like the NES where we don't really do that, but that's because like emulation is on par, like 1 to 1, pretty much. And then like other consoles like VVC are all slower than original, and also yeah, so there's no really real reason to do it. But
That makes sense.
yeah, when N64 especially I've noticed like has a lot of variations with their official emulators and releases, so makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't know. I mean, I know enough to know that I don't know enough about how the N64 works to know that it's just a very difficult console
I don't know
to
if anyone
emulate.
really knows
But
how it works
I
because
don't think so, because if they did, we'd probably have better emulators.
yeah, but I mean there are some
Even
good
Nintendo
ones, but
struggles with it, so
yeah, like I have just heard so many like inaccurate stories about N64 stuff, so I don't know.
it's definitely gotten better.
Hmm.
It's still better than it ever has been, but it's still not good. Like
Yeah,
we did somewhat recently finally decide to allow emulators on the leaderboard, but with stipulations that we're like, okay, you can use any emulator you want because we don't, it's the wild, wild west there.
yeah.
But you can't submit a run within 10% of world record, and it's hidden by default. So,
Oh,
the
okay.
idea being you can use this as like, get your name on the board, have something to be like, hey, I did that. But it's so difficult to police in
Hmm.
terms of like, allowing, how we would want to if we wanted to like have it in contention for actual top level competition, especially since emulator is faster than console
Yeah,
because of mostly because of the load times. So
yeah.
it just
It's
yeah.
always a murky situation though, because
Yeah, there's no one right way to handle it for every game,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, it's definitely a game community specific kind of thing because
Yeah, yeah.
like, and again, especially with N64, emulation is so random. It feels
Yeah.
so you
It does
never
feel
know
that
just
way.
how accurate it actually is. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You could always make a separate tab for just emulators as well. But
We could, yeah. And if we I wouldn't be opposed to the idea if even just doing that though gets a little difficult because, comparing it a lot, especially with N64, so the trade-off is kind of like our main goal for allowing it is that we want to allow for like accessibility and
mhm,
just ease of getting into the game.
yeah.
But if we wanted to like focus on competition with it, we'd probably have to pick a specific emulator with a specific, a specific version. And also the ones that run the best tend to not really be able to run well on people without great PCs. So that's kind
Mm,
of like, in tension with
yeah.
our actual goal for allowing it. So
Yeah.
I like what we have personally. I
Yeah.
was one of the
I get
one of
it.
the ones pushing for it. So
I'm more making the point of this is a complicated mess for everyone in every community ever. So this is why you'll always see everything be different and separate sometimes. I don't know. N64 is weird.
yeah,
Why can't it
yeah.
all be
I
like the
am.
NES where emulation's like perfect pretty much?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm kind of jealous of. I
Yeah.
think it's like cycle perfect. I think is the phrase, right? Uh,
I'm not an expert
you don't know.
in
Okay.
emulation, but I just know yeah, if you speed run uh now some emulators can defer, but we specifically
Mm,
allow certain ones because its emulation for speedrun purposes is exactly the same.
right.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. That's so
that's the
convenient.
short answer. If you play on this emulator, your speedrun will be exactly the same as if it was played on console, like the timing and everything.
That's very nice.
Yeah, so and
And plus, yeah, I
obviously
remember. Oh, God.
obviously NES is, more primitive hardware only, so it's a little easier, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
and I
know.
know I'm not like I basically all I know from about Super Mario Bros. For the most part is like what I've watched in YouTube videos.
Mm,
But I mean, I know even with that game, you can tell exactly how long the speedrun was just by like looking at the
Yes.
frame where what does the frame look like at the end of the run? So
Yeah,
you
the
can write
pattern
that
of
down.
when you jump over or under Bowser and he throws the
Yeah.
hammers, those are like relative to the frame you would have finished the run on because it is consistent every time. So based on that, you
Right.
can like we have a whole spreadsheet with all of them, and you can find the exact time that way. Yeah, we have it
Oh,
very easy. I will
yeah.
admit. So
I mean, counteracted by it being just, an extremely difficult speed run, especially at the top level.
yeah, but it's also
So,
5 minutes as opposed to what
also
like
5 minutes. That's true.
an hour and a half plus. So
Yeah, at five
uh,
minutes in Paper Mario, I'm holding B through text, so
yeah, like
haven't even done Junior
yeah,
Skip yet.
yeah, it's impossible to compare. That's what I always say. Like, how does this speedrun compare to this? It's just like they're so different almost all
Yes,
the
they
time.
don't. It's
Yeah.
different.
Like I could tell you so many differences between like Mario 1 on NES and All Stars and then the PAL version. And that's the same game, just in different versions. That varies
Oh,
so
yeah.
much. So like, yeah, it's just impossible to compare.
Yeah. Oh, I always forget that like there is a PAL version of Paper Mario, but it runs at 25 frames per
Yeah.
second. So, not really viable. Also, the text is slowest. There was okay, so uh reason for running on JP instead of English is, like a lot of games, mostly the text.
Hmm.
And most of that is just because of Japanese being a more concise language, so there's just fewer characters. But also between JP and English, and there's only one version for each region, so you don't have to worry about like 1.1 or something. But between JP and English, they also changed the literal speed that text goes by. They slowed it down on English, so like
Hmm.
holding B if for like the same number of characters is faster on JP, and they kept that in PAL, so it's just
Interesting.
yeah. And the IQ version, which
Oh
luckily
yeah.
we don't have to deal with because it is also slow
Oh,
because it
thank
also
God.
has the slow text.
Because
Yeah.
the stories I've heard with IQ.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I've looked into getting one just for the novelty of it, and I've almost pulled the trigger before, but never quite gotten
I've
around
played
to it.
on one. I just
Oh yeah?
I don't really see the need to own one. I don't know.
I just think it would be cool, but
It is
it's a lot of
cool,
money to
but
spend on something that's just cool.
yeah, right. Like I have my N64 with my EverDrive. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need any special releases, and that is quite the special release. The controller is also really heavy because like the console is the controller, like it's all
Right, right.
so it's I don't know.
I
It's
do
interesting.
know, because I have some friend. This will actually lead into a good next topic.
Okay.
But so I have some friends in Ocarina of Time,
Hmm.
um, and like I guess the friends aren't the ones I saw doing this, but I saw there was somebody at least a few years ago. I haven't seen if there's an update to this. Was working on an adapter for the IQ to be able to plug in and use an N64 controller with it. So
Okay.
aside from like the difficulty of actually getting your hands on an IQ without spending like hundreds of dollars,
Hmm.
uh, that yeah. I love advancements like that.
Yeah.
But speaking of Ocarina of Time, so OOT has their practice round. I don't know if it was actually my speedrunning focus has been very Nintendo centric. So if there's stuff happening outside of it, decent chance that I've missed it. But I want to say that OOT was the first game with like a really good practice ROM, at least on console. Maybe not, but it definitely one of the first. Um, and it was made by Glank, and then there was also Krim who like, used the code base to uh, work on KZ, which was like a very similar one for Majora's Mask. And then Fig, who I'm friends with and has like a lot of overlap between friends in the Paper Mario community. He was like OOT at the time was kind of like on a in terms of just like there wasn't like for OOT, there wasn't a ton happening in terms of like glitch discovery and working on the technical side. And so he decided as like, a project is like, hey, I will use that to work on making a Paper Mario practice ROM. Uh, which he called FP, which is the whole thing. Glank swears the G in GZ doesn't stand for Glank, stands for nothing. Krim made KZ because as a joke on that, so it is sort of K. And then Fig, FP is a thing in Paper Mario, and and his name is Fig. He just thought it was funny, so it's like a 3-layer joke. Our practice ROM is called FP, but anyway, so he started working on that. Him and a few other people that he like roped in for it. Um, and so they got it working. The hardest thing was like just getting it working. They could boot it up. But around the time that I decided to like try and contribute to it, it wasn't really uh it wasn't better to use than just using game chart codes at the time. And so I my degree is in computer science, so I was like, this is something that I can do. And so I started contributing to it. And then I don't know how much you know about Ocarina of Time. But
Um, I've
like if I say
obviously
SRM,
had OOT people on and everything, but I have never played
right?
the game, and the run has never something I've like dove into myself too much. So
Gotcha.
pretty limited, I
Yeah,
guess, is the short answer.
fair. Okay, well, I feel like you've probably at least heard about SRM, which was like the
Yes.
thing that led to Ace, and
Hmm.
yeah. So that got discovered not too long. Sorry, there's like a hair in my mouth. um, But anyway, that got discovered not too long after, and so Fig kind of abandoned the project more or less, like understandably. And so I ended up taking ownership of it and got it to a point where I was like, where I could release a 1.0 version and be like, this is better than using game chart codes. And so from there we had a practice ROM, which I've continued to work on and off, since then. It's along with like we have other contributors now, so it's not just me. Lots of people who've helped make it really good. Sorry, this is like there. I don't think it's showing up on camera, but it's very annoying. Um, but yeah, so we got the practice ROM, and around that time, I don't remember the specific um timing. Well, I guess if I wanted to go chronologically here, around 20. So we had the practice ROM. I don't want to say like I think 1.0 released in 2020. I want to say. So, having a practice ROM would make practice just like so much more convenient. But then also around that time, I started getting burnt out with the game and switched over to actually the longest. Uh, I've focused on like speedrunning a different game, and I switched to Super Mario Sunshine, and actually ran that as my primary game for over a year. I don't remember exactly how long, but just doing any percent. Well, I guess I don't even know what they call because they have Ace now.
Yeah.
All these games getting Ace, making it convenient for the naming of categories. But that and 120 was like definitely my favorite category in that game. Um, but definitely never. I wouldn't say that I really contributed to Sunshine in terms of like the speedrunning scene, just versus like trying to learn and do well myself. Which like they also have. They don't have a practice ROM, but they do have practice codes that are pretty good. So you can like load specific levels, pick certain RNG for things. It was a very big change of pace for me, like going from Paper Mario, an RPG with some platforming elements, to Sunshine, which is like a pure platformer, but also still very glitchy. And also still, especially for a platformer, RNG heavy. So I don't know,
Oh yeah.
something I always like I would compare it to Paper Mario, which like it doesn't Sunshine doesn't have any RNG where it's just like, okay, we're here at the end. There's a 40% chance that I win this fight, or else the run's over. Like, it doesn't have that. So that's nice. So, like, in that sense, it was less RNG. But especially for a platformer, like, where like the way I've compared it in the past is like Paper Mario. I feel like at least like I can't compare Sunshine at a high level, but Paper Mario has like a lot of low to mid level difficulty, like consistently with like spikes of high difficulty throughout. Whereas Sunshine just feels like go 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 always. Maybe not. Well, I mean, I'm sure at the highest level it also has the spikes because I've seen what they do, but at least in my level, it was just much more higher general. Like definitely had to focus more throughout. Um, versus like, but not with it with not nearly as many high spikes for you know the difficulty. It was just much more on. So it was different. It required a lot more dedicated practice for all the different levels. Like I remember I would do I would have months. I was like, okay, this is Bianco month where I'm just going to super focus on my practice of focusing on Bianco and then just like kind of casually practice everything else. Um, and I would still do runs because I knew if my main goal was just getting a really good time, then definitely practice is like the most important thing. But I also knew that I would just burn out if all I ever did was practice. So it's like, gotta balance the runs with the practice. Have fun with it. Um, but yeah, so very different experience between the two games for sure. Um, but so around and I'm still like involved. Like I was by this time I was a mod for the Paper Mario speedrunning community. So like I was still involved. I was still working on the practice ROM, if not even though I wasn't like doing runs of the game. And I believe it was 2021 where a version of Ace was discovered um, in Paper Mario, but it was TAS only. So without getting too far into the weeds, essentially in uh in the room where you fight Goomba King, that room is like modders can tell it's like okay, this was one of the first rooms they ever made. It's very just wonky the way they have everything set up, um, and you can sort of crash the game in a specific way. It was discovered by you frame perfectly open the partner or item menu when you interact with a bush that drops the switch or that pops the switch out to destroy the castle, and there's a the blue Goomba actually is in goes invisible and is used to move the switch just because there was code for moving NPCs already, and so it was easier to just like have the switch match it. But anyway, if you open the partner menu on like just the right frame, it actually enables the hitbox of that invisible blue Goomba, which lets you refight Goomba King and puts you into a weird state where you can move around with the partner menu up and queue up a whole bunch of like dust effects, and you can but they since you're still paused, they're not spawning even though you can move around. Um, but so you can spawn so many dust effects at once by closing the menu that you crash the game and jump execution to a weird spot where you can essentially use your coordinates like while you're standing and use that to write code. But it's way too we don't have like the movement options of like again like an Ocarina of Time, so we can't be as specific with it. You'd have to be a task to exploit that. But it was discovered that hey, we can jump execution instead of using our coordinates, we can use this idle timer here. So that's like as long as you've been standing still for legitimately not joking ends up being about like a little over 69 seconds I believe.
Of
um
course.
it will actually jump execution of like where it's reading code from in the RAM to where the expansion pack is, if you have that, which the game doesn't use, but the way the N64 works, that memory is still just available. And so what we thought of, I think it was probably Mr. Cheese,
Mm,
who tends to be involved in a lot of Ace stuff.
I'm aware. Yes.
Not surprising. I believe it was his idea. Is like, hey, so what if we used a different game, say Ocarina of Time, to that has Ace already, to put uh, a you know a custom crafted piece of code that would jump back to do whatever we want. In our case, jump to our file names and use those as code. Um, and so or Paper Mario Stop and Swap was born because we put that piece of code there, and then we swap cartridges so fast that the RAM on the expansion pack, which Paper Mario doesn't even bother to clear, it just doesn't touch it. So it's just there waiting for us. And so with the practice ROM, which was still early in development and I had access to, like I knew how the code base worked, and I was able to just like, code up a quick hack to it to test is like, hey, would this work if I put this piece of code on the in the expansion pack, and then I do this glitch, can it will it jump us to credits with the right file names? And I ended up being I was the first to pull that off in practice, showing that it was possible. And then I had to learn. I had watched a lot of Ocarina of Time, but I had never run it myself. So I was jumping straight into the deep end, doing learning what was at the time a very old version of Ace that they had, because we had to. I don't remember the reasons, but it was like more complicated than just doing a credits warp in OOT. Um, Learning this old, really hard version of Ace with like the slingshot to be able to put that code there and then switch over, and it was like that's probably like, if you've heard of me and you aren't really into, like, maybe you're sort of into speedrunning, that's probably what I'm known for, is Paper Mario Stop and Swap, because like there were news articles written about that. Like, that was
Yeah.
really cool. um but yeah, so we were able to beat Paper Mario with Ocarina of Time, and I believe the first time that I completed it, it was like, I want to say I'm pretty sure it was under an hour, which, oh, hi Rolo. Yeah, these days the time is closer to like 20, it's under 25 minutes. I don't remember exactly what
Jeez.
it gets. Yeah, it's fast.
Okay.
Um because the OT version got faster. Like they found faster versions for Ace, and then we found, well, I guess we didn't really, we did, there's more with Ace, but um yeah, and so then I submitted that to I s- Rolo wants to play with the clamp. But anyway, I submitted that to GDQ, and got that, got it in. They got it in as a bonus game,
Mm.
and the run went more or less perfectly somehow. Like, I had this like really high estimate, because I was like, okay, well, if I mess up any of the, you crash OOT at a certain point intentionally, and it's like, I can verify that, I can use the crash screen to verify that I crashed it the right way. But it's like, if I mess up, I have to do like this long section again. And then for Paper Mario, um the part for that is like, you have to defeat Goomba King and then do the frame perfect thing with the bush with the switch, which you only get one shot at. So it was like,
Mm.
okay, well, that's a long thing to have to try again. And then of course, like, the ace itself, if that fails, because you had to we the actual setup involved, like, I had to wait. The frame window for getting it right was really small. It was like much less than a second. It was more than, I want to say the frame window, like, wait about 69 seconds, but the frame window ended up being something in the ballpark of like 3 or 4 frames, when I would have to close the menu and then also jump with good timing, so that I didn't crash. Or, like, I had to get a certain value in memory good, so that it wouldn't crash preemptively before executing the code. And it just all went perfectly at GDQ somehow. So yeah, one of the cooler experiences. Definitely one of the cooler things that I've ever done with speedrunning. Um,
What event was that?
that was SGDQ. I want to say I think it was 2021, if
Okay,
I'm
so
not
one of the
mistaken.
online ones.
Yeah. It was online, so I was doing it. Unfortunately, have never been on the GDQ main stage,
Hmm.
but
Yet,
it
yeah.
was yet.
Yet. Mhm.
Paper Mario is harder to get in general, just because it's
Yeah,
a it's a longer run, so
you never know.
the shorter. No, it's definitely possible. I just it's a harder sell when you're taking up. You accept one, say 3 hour run, and that's a bunch, like 3 hour runs that you are giving up ish. I mean, I don't know how they determine it like that, but um,
You were a Fatale finale though, right?
I did do that. I have also done that. That was in, I don't know, that's a 2024, I want to say, where I
More
did
recent,
all
yeah.
cards. Yeah, I closed out Frost Fatales with an all cards run. That also went really well. I was really happy with that. Um, which I think it's since been surpassed, but ended up being like, I mean, I think this is pretty common with GQs, like the most recent event, at least with the non-main ones. It's like, yeah, this was the most they'd ever raised, and so yeah, it was definitely very cool. And it being at the finale, that's usually whenever all the donations start coming in.
All hell breaks loose.
Yep. Just a very cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, after I actually took a decently long break from from actually speedrunning after that GDQ run because uh well, for one, I was like kind of burnout on it because it just happens. Burnout's a thing. Um but also the Paper Mario Rando I think was around then. Might not have been for a little bit later. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, so that ended up taking a lot of my time, which like I don't know how much we'd want to talk about that, but the random for the game is very good and is also has very good like glitched options. So I was able to like my speedrunning knowledge directly translated from from speedrunning to like being good at rando and having fun with that. And also kind of revived for a time there the glitch hunting scene just because suddenly with how different rando was there were a lot more opportunities to look for glitches. And I don't remember if there were, it's hard to say if that directly led to us improving anything with the speed runs. um, but definitely did indirectly in terms of like I got more experience glitch hunting personally, and I know some other people did, and so and there have been a decent number of like minor things that have been found in Paper Mario since then that have like applied to speedrunning. Um, but yeah, uh, also when I don't, this is also sprinkled in there, but very different. Um, over the years, I've also occasionally done runs of Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, specifically Marriage to Karen, which that's like I don't know. I feel like every speedrunner who's like has like a main game that's like maybe a more popular one should also pick a less popular speedrun that you just like just defend your record toxically. I mean maybe not actually toxic, but I don't know that one run. Like whenever I started, I don't think there were any submissions for it. So for anyone who doesn't know, Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, Game Boy Advance game. It's like a farming sim. So like if you played Stardew, it was like that series was one of the inspirations for Stardew being created. But and so what like I routed I got to route the game from scratch, which was like a good amount of fun. And like the first time I did it, it was like kind of bad. It was like, whatever. But it was world record. And then the game started getting glitches found. Um so somebody, I don't remember who, but somebody found a glitch where you can uh enter a loading zone and pause on the same frame and then load a different file, and it will put you in that room but on like the room that you were gonna go to in the first file but on the file for the second one, so you can basically warp around.
Hmm.
And so that, somebody, beat me with that, and I came back and I did came back and I was like, okay, new fun, something to reroute and get a better time with. And then much less later, one of the just wild, it's you wouldn't think in like a farming sim, potential. Well, I certainly didn't at the time, but one of the most busted glitches in a game was found where so the day transition happens between 5:59 and 6 a.m. And so if you save right before that and similar thing, you load right as the day transition happens, it will reset everything about okay, so you have and try and explain this better. So you have one file where you actually want to do things on, and then you have another file you've set up that's like right before 6 a.m. before the day transition happens. And so you can load into the 6 a.m. file and then frame perfectly load back into the other one as the day transition happens, and you will still be on the same day on the original file, but everything will have been reset. And so we super abuse that to take advantage of it resetting the like like have you given a gift to anyone to people today? And so we wait until I'm doing so Karen marriage is the main one that I've done. You wait until her birthday where you get a huge bonus to gifts, and then you just like basically love bomb her and get her from like next to no affection to high enough for marriage in one single calendar day by giving her a bunch of french fries, and it's so cool.
Well, if that's
I
not
love that
speed
run.
running, I don't know what is. So.
Right? That's what I'm saying. And then also there's a lot of just sleeping to the next day in the run, so it's like um I would never submit it to a GDQ.
What do you mean?
There's too
Silly
much
blocks right
downtime.
there.
I mean, it's still like an hour 21 run. So
Oh, really? All right.
yeah, I have the time in front of me. So it's like it's a bit much, but it's still really cool, and I like to go back to that one. Um,
I like silly BS. Those are great runs usually.
yeah, yeah, and I dabbled around with like a couple other runs. I also did the have the record in the glitchless Karen marriage, but that one's not as contested.
It's not.
Um,
It's not as funny.
it's not. It's also not as funny.
I
But
understand.
I mean, the if you try and imagine what's happening in the run, if it we translate it to real life, it's kind of awful because you start off very poor. You get enough money to gamble it all on horse racing to get enough money for the rest of the run, and then then you just love bomb. You get exactly as much money as you need ideally to be able to do the run, and so you get all your money from gambling and then just win a woman over in one day, and you get married, and then you're broke with no real means of making more money, and this poor woman. But it's a fun run.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah. um but yeah, so I did. There was stop and swap, and then I did a bunch of random mostly, as well as some other. There was one particular ROM hack of Paper Mario Black Pit, which was also fun that I did a good bit of. But there was a speedrunning scene for that with like a few people. It was like it kind of turns Paper Mario into like a roguelike,
Hmm.
um, with like a pit of 100 trials, which is very cool. But I don't know, it never appealed to me in a speedrun context. But then later we found a way to do Ace in Paper Mario without the use of Ocarina of Time, which is slower, and it still is slower, but not it has a little bit more of a like I don't know legit air of like legitimacy being only in Paper Mario. And so this one in the volcano in chapter 5, it's you're still pulling off this like a very similar glitch in terms of spawning a bunch of particles to crash the game in just the right way. But that room is a lot easier, still difficult, still very difficult, but a lot easier to manipulate your exact X and Z coordinates. And so there was a setup discovered uh, to be able to actually get those coordinates. Um, we literally have screenshots. It's like, okay, this is the exact, pixels you should be lined up with, and then you do a spin here, hammer here at the end, jump, spin jump here. It's very, very specific movements to get into the right position. And also, one of the most annoying things about that was that there were a couple sections where you had to do we ended up calling one walking. So you move. So if you're running in Paper Mario like at max speed, it's always like you're always moving at the same speed. But if you're at walking speed, the exact amount you move each frame is actually variable depending on how far you push the stick. And so the setup required pushing the analog stick just enough to make it move to where like, it registers a 1 on the analog stick. Like if it registered a 2, you wouldn't really be able to tell and it would completely ruin the setup. So
Hmm.
that was a very annoying to deal with. But I was also the first one to pull that off, so that was very cool. Um, didn't get as much hype around it as Stop and Swap because as cool as it is. It is using Ace to skip to the end of the game is it's not a new concept in games versus like using one game to beat another. Um, and plus those categories, as cool as they are, and as much as I liked, the process of trying to figure it all out and pull it off. Um, they're kind of awful to actually do as speedruns where you're just trying to improve your time. So I don't know. I think it's much cooler as the novelty, personally. So generally with like those categories, I've like learned them, I've pulled them off, and then maybe do a couple runs while there's hype and it's still fresh to get a little bit better of a time, and then I just kind of moved on and do other stuff. Um, and I believe it, and so that was in 2022, I think. And then I got really into rando. That was like my main thing for a couple years actually. And then I wanted to get back into speedrunning, but like nothing other than Ace, which is big, but didn't really affect anything else about the game because, we ban Ace in all the other categories. Otherwise, it just kind of trivializes everything. Um, and so then I finally did decide to learn Ocarina of Time, um, and learn glitchless, which because it just seemed like, or technically glitchless all main quests. There's like a whole thing about glitchless any percent versus AM. Like if you watch a glitchless any percent run of Ocarina of Time, I totally understand why they do it. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but it is definitely not what you would expect a glitchless run to be. Like it skips like it still ends up skipping. It technically never does a glitch, but the game is just so busted that you can do non-glitch things and skip a bunch of the game. It ends up being, I forget exactly how long, but like I want to say like around 2 hours, maybe a little longer, versus like All Main Quest, which is closer to 4, and is more or less what you would expect in a glitchless category. Um, but like I learned that, and so I was planning at the time. I was planning on like, okay, I want to get good at Ocarina of Time. I want to really get into this. And then that would have been 2020, end of 2022 into 2023. Um, Ocarina of or not Paper Mario got the biggest glitch. It was like a group effort, lots of people involved in the discovery. Found the biggest glitch, biggest non-ace glitch in Paper Mario since I started running the game, called seed duping. So you've made it to chapter 6. The
I'm
four
there right
magical
now.
seeds.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, the four magical seeds that you have to find to get into chapter 6. Those have always been non-negotiable. There was no there you because we needed to get into chapter 6 to get Lackluster. I don't know how far you've gotten in.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've gotten
I have
Lackey
them.
yet.
Yeah.
You do? Okay,
Yep.
okay. He is by far, even yeah, he's by far the most broken partner in the game. Just there's so many different glitches
I
that you can
I
do with
can
him.
understand why,
Yeah,
based on what he gives you.
yeah, it just so many different methods for clipping and all that. So getting him is very important. But and so before getting all the seeds involved you, especially the last seed, you always had to beat chapter 5 so that you could get the vase to give to Colorado to get that seed, and there was no other way to do that. uh, a glitch that I had theorized, I had no idea how to pull it off, but I had realized in like 2019, 2020, just like messing around, that like whenever you plant the fourth seed, the game doesn't actually check which one you're planting. The first
Hmm.
three, you do have to plant three unique seeds, so that there's like three separate flags set. But the game only when you're planting a fourth seed, the game's like, oh, you've planted three seeds, and you're now planting a fourth one. That must be the last one. That must be the last seed. You know, process of elimination. So you must be planting the right one. And here we'll open the door to chapter 6. But so you can just as like theoretically, if you could duplicate one of the seeds, you could skip one of them, which would skip chapter 5. And then
Hmm.
it was discovered there's a way you can get sushi glitch in multiple things. Sushi glitch in Toad Town, which is just in a very specific position, hop on sushi in Toad Town, and it'll miscalculate where you're supposed to be, and you will be swimming in the land. And
Hmm.
so then you can swim all the way over to the Seed and Forever Forest, and then encounter an enemy twice, and it'll put you in a weird cutscene state where you're it's like you have a negative, the number of like overlapping cutscenes you're in is considered like -1, or which I underflows it. So, and then you can pause, which like raises it by 2 over time, and then back down. So you can kind of like briefly go back and forth between being in a cutscene and not. And you can use that to move around while you're talking to the bulb that gives you the seed. And you actually get the seed as soon as he gives it to you, but it doesn't set the flag that says that the conversation has happened until all of his text is done, which he has a few more text boxes after the seed. And so we use that to get the seed, leave the room with the conversation still up, which like clears it, and then you re-enter the room, talk to him again, and get the seed again. And um, that saves so much time. Uh, and has also allowed us to the volcano was the last reason that we needed to get paracarry, so like now we can skip paracarry entirely in most categories, which we couldn't do before. It was required. Um, and so that kind of reignited my interest in speedrunning the game because it affected almost every category, and just the way that it affected the game. It's one of those really good glitches that discovered where it actually makes the game more fun.
Hmm.
Um, and it wasn't seed duping itself isn't actually that hard of a glitch. It does mean you have to do some other kind of difficult things that you didn't have to before, but they're not that bad. And the way that they just it improves the pacing and just makes everything more fun. And so
It
yeah,
sounds
times
complex, but
it is complex, and that's a lot. I'm struggling not to get too far into the weeds with explaining
yeah,
this stuff. I don't know how well I'm succeeding. I don't think I am, but
I'm
um,
hanging in there.
okay, that's good. Hopefully everyone else is too. Um, but yeah, so like, and we're also able to, another thing that it helps with is we can do that process multiple times. So like in any percent no ace, we just do exactly what I said so that we can get straight to chapter 6, and then keep going to the end of the game. But like in a category like all cards, we actually don't beat the chapters in the intended order. We jump around just due to like um, it just ends up being faster. But there used to be a hard limit where like you could only enter chapter 6 for the first time once, and if you're going to beat the chapter, you have to beat it the first time you enter it. And so we would have to beat the first 5 chapters without Lackey, and then get to chapter 6 and do 6 and 7 and then 8. But with seed duping, we could actually dupe 2 seeds so that we would have a total of 5. And then what that let us do is we could rush chapter 6, skip straight to Lackey with actually some LZS jumps. You can use that to get out of bounds as well, because it whenever you enter a loading zone in Paper Mario, it's when you enter the next room, it kind of like remembers what part of the loading zone you entered from and kind of skews your angle a little bit. And we can use loading zone storage to enter from very far perpendicular and get out of bounds that way. But anyway, so skip straight to chapter 6, go straight to the part where we get Lackey, and then go back and re-trigger the story progress to the earlier chapters and beat those much quicker because Lackey is so broken, and then use our um, se- uh, then use our second duped seed to start chapter 6 again from the beginning, which you have to do in order to beat it, because you have to like get all the just the way that the story progression works, and then beat chapter 7. It was it was very big. It's very big. Um,
How much did it save, like, approximately?
oh, in it's really hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
But like for instance, in just 80% no ace, world record at the time was like I believe a 139 when it was discovered, 139, 140. Um, and the record now, actually, I just got just like a week or two ago. Um, but was is net what would I get, a 137, and I don't even think it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, it's we're talking minutes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. It's really hard to. No one ever bothered to like do a specific timing because one, it changes the route significantly, and two, it's just like it's so clearly faster that actually timing it is like it's a lot of effort to put in for
Yeah.
no real benefit other than having a number.
Like a few minutes.
Like a few minutes, yeah. So the TLDR, like a few minutes, yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
That's a lot of minutes
yeah. And
for
even more
speed
in other
runs.
categories,
Yeah.
but yeah, because the other categories also like you still get the speed up, some of like the no ace speed ups, but you also it just changes the route so much that it's hard to say. Again, I guess the record came down. I think Random Sauce has the all cards record, probably like a I think it was like a 248, 247 before, something like that. And now it's like a 243, 244,
Hmm.
something in that ballpark.
Oh.
So yeah, minutes. Um, but yeah, very, very big and reignited my interest both in like running the game. So I've gotten uh, like most, well, maybe like half. I haven't pushed all the categories I want to, but like half my PBs are now with C duping, probably. Um, Plus, it didn't affect like it obviously didn't affect glitchless.
Hmm.
It really put 100% in an awkward position, which I alluded to earlier with like
Oh, okay.
trying to
This
decide.
was why.
Yeah, because it and it also kind of combine. Like one of the weird things is that like obviously for 100%, which should require like hammer and boots because those are like the two your two main gear, but one of the really weird things just due to the fact that like getting the super hammer is which is the first hammer upgrade is a really easy way to set your story progress to chapter 2 so that you can like revert. So it actually ends up being faster to get the ultra hammer and then the super hammer. So then it's just a debate of like, okay, well, what do we require? Do we want you to have to finish with both ultra hammer and ultra boots? Do we want to, and then we don't care which ones you get along the way? Do we want to make it so that you have to get each of the super boots and ultra boots and it doesn't matter the order? Do we want to make it so that you have to get each of them but you have to finish with the highest level? And a lot of us have different viewpoints on that, and I don't really even think you can I don't think that any one of them is like objectively
Hmm.
what it should be, and it opened up more possibilities, and
Yeah.
none
At
of
the
us
end
can
of the
really
day, leaderboards are all just arbitrary anyway. So.
exactly. And it's also a category that has like I think 10 total people who've ran it, and like 3 or 4 of those are people who just like tried it once and never again. So it's
Hmm.
not even like a popular category to run just because it's So I like it. It's fun, but it's also pretty tedious to do. Like you have to do all the
It's definitely
recipes.
long.
So it is also long. It's like a five. Well, it's 5 hours if you're good at it. If you've been doing it, much longer than that if you're just starting. Um, but oh, there was also I don't remember if I was the main one to push for it or if other people did, but somewhere along the way, we realized, hey, we could do a reverse all cards category, which is not quite a reverse boss order uh, category, but very similar. So you just had to it was like all cards. We had to touch all the cards, but you do it in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then beat chapter 8. So that's another category that we've I definitely I don't remember if I was the first, but I was definitely one of the main ones pushing for it. Which requires you to do like a really cool, unique glitch that you don't see anywhere else, where you have to max out your key item inventory at 32, which then lets you overflow another key item to your regular inventory, which lets you this is a big old complicated thing to re-trigger prologue, where you can fight Junior Troopa, who even after you've beaten him, he's just like chilling 1,000 units under the save block in the middle of the playground in that room, and he has an active hitbox, and beating him puts you back in prologue, which lets you beat chapter 1 after all the other ones. So yeah, that was just a cool category that I don't think I definitely wasn't the main one doing the routing, but that's another one that I need to do. I haven't done that with seed duping because just the amount of seed duping probably affected it the most, and we do actually have it as a main category on the main board. Um, and the record is something in the low 3 hour ballpark now. But you actually do 3 seeds for that now because you have to initially go use one to rush to chapter 7, and then you have to use another one for backtracking, and then another one after beating chapter 1 as you're working your way back up to chapter 8. So just the amount of things that you can use glitches to do in this game is just very cool.
Yeah. It's fascinating because, I've been playing the game a lot recently. I don't think I've ever had anything weird happen yet.
No, no, it honestly, I feel like the game has this largely unearned reputation for being crash prone, and it just
Mm.
really isn't unless you're going out of your way to try and make that happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not happened to me yet at all.
yeah.
I haven't had any glitches, anything that I can think of
No,
happen
no.
to me.
And odds are you won't. I mean, like there's a chance that,
Yeah.
sometimes stuff does happen. But yeah, no.
So,
It's a very it benefited from being one of the last games released on the console. Came out in Japan in 2000, the US in 2001, which was like right before the GameCube came out. So they had
mm,
a pretty good handle on how to work with the console at that point. And I mean, it shows it. It has its quirks, obviously, but honestly, props to the devs. And we have. I was never involved in working on it, but we have 100% matching decomp now, so we
mm,
can like look at the source code, more or less, and know exactly what they did. And I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff that I'm just like, okay, well, I wouldn't have done it that way. But then a lot of the times it's just like, oh no, they, especially given the fact that I'm sure they had time crunch and all that. Like they,
yeah.
programming is hard work. Um, but yeah, I was honestly, I've been largely impressed with how they managed to make it all work together.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, it's just amazing that, the game from a casual perspective is pretty flawless for the most part, but apparently if you know what you're doing, it's a horrendously broken mess somehow.
it really is. It really is.
And I don't know, something beautiful about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have not seen any. Again, I have not looked into like the actual speedrun tech yet because
Yeah,
I wanted to
probably.
casual it first. But
Yeah, it's like at this rate, you'll probably have it beaten before too much longer. So
yeah, I don't
definitely would
think I much
recommend
much more.
checking out speedruns of it after you've beaten it.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely finish your playthrough first.
We'll get there. But I mean, just yeah. I don't know just how many glitches there are in the game, but it sounds like a lot.
They're probably the it depends on what some glitches are useful in speedrunning but not in rando, some in rando but not speedrunning. But probably the biggest glitch list, if you wanted to just like see how many there are, would be to go to the Paper Mario rando website and go to the glitch logic and then just like look at all of the different ones, and almost all of them have like videos of them being done to show you what they are. So if you ever just wanted to randomly look around there, um
Wow.
would recommend.
Well, since you brought up the rando, I am a little curious. What does it?
Yeah.
How does it work, and what does it do for that game?
Yeah. So one of the things that before rando was a thing that we knew, it was like, okay, well, this is going to be difficult to make work, is that the game kind of, the vanilla game, keeps track of where you are, and you're only ever in one chapter at a time. But they completely reworked it in rando so that each chapter has its own separate like progress that it keeps track of. And so, I mean, there's a bunch of options. You can, start with like all the chapters open, only some of them, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, the primary goal tends to be to beat each of the first 7 chapters to unlock chapter 8 and then go beat chapter 8, which is at least the way I play, usually a shortened version of 8 that just goes straight to the bosses. Um, because chapter 8 is kind of long in a rando context if it's the same thing every time.
Mm,
But yeah, so all of the very Ocarina of Time rando type deal where it's key items are spread all over the place, and well, more than just the key items. I mean, partners are spread around in random places. The gear is boot and hammer upgrades, which are progressive. But yeah, ends up being, you might find one of the magical seeds in from the tree from beating Goomba King where the star piece is, or something like that. But it's very very well made. For anyone wanting to get into want a new way to play Paper Mario. And there is also an archipelago version now that
mm,
didn't exist at first, but now there is that version if you wanted to you know
yeah.
do AP with friends.
That's cool. I'm
Yeah,
glad more and more games keep getting supported for that.
yeah, no, that's, I haven't used it much. I've done it a little bit, but it's
Yeah, I haven't
very
used it much myself
very
either, but
fun.
the concept and like what I've seen others do with it, it's one of the coolest things,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
Especially for like collaboration type stuff.
yeah.
Like,
It
wow.
really seems, just, I don't know. It's just kind of seems like it's gotten huge quietly while I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And again, like
Yeah.
when I say collaborative, I've seen ones with like thousands of people. It's like,
Oh
how
wow,
does
I
it even? Yeah,
I didn't even realize it could handle that. That's
yeah. No,
impressive.
it's a wild world. I
I
haven't
kn-
dove in too much myself, but like I've heard and seen some things, and it's like, whoa.
I know enough about calculating the logic to just know that to being able to like create a seed that'll be logically always beatable and not breaking with that many different items to have to sort is it's impressive
Yeah,
from a technical standpoint.
yeah. Some
Um,
things definitely have a lot of checks, and then like
yeah,
you can customize them a lot. But and then doing that for like 2,000 people.
yeah, that's jeez.
With like however many games they have supported now. I know it's not like all listed on the website, but like
Right, right. I
there's a
don't even
lot.
remember if Paper Mario is like one of the, if it's like out of beta or whatever. It
Yeah,
might be. I can't
but
remember, but
it works. So
it does work.
it does
It
work,
does work.
which is
Yeah,
always good.
it's the most important thing.
Yeah, very important. Um, have there been other like live events, marathon showcases that we haven't talked about?
Uh, let's see. So Paper Mario's always been doing marathons of it has always been like kind of weird for me because going for PBs, I'm always going for these like risky categories or sorry, risky fights at the end mostly that like if I want to get a PB, I have to go for them because they're just
Mm,
that much faster and my PBs already have them. But so if I'm doing a marathon, then I have to do like a like a slower, safer fight, which is fine. But I've always disliked the fact that like it changes the route enough that I've never felt like I can. I've always felt like if I want to prepare for a marathon, I have to pause doing PB attempts just so that I don't like start getting routes confused in my head. So I haven't actually done that many marathons. I've done random like GDQ hotfixes over the years. Um, Oh, I did one. I did one a while ago that was just like a glitch exhibition
Hmm.
of Paper Mario, where I just it's a little bit outdated now. There's definitely been some new things found, but where it was like about a 4 hour stream where I just showed off a whole bunch of Paper Mario glitches. So that one was really cool. Um, I've done mostly GDQ hotfixes. I mentioned I mentioned the Frost Fatales.
Hmm.
And I also did. There was just recently there was an event for Trans Day of Visibility where I did 80% no ace for that. Closed that. It was like a 2 day event out, also for GDQ. I haven't really done, and like this is on me. I probably should submit to more of them, uh, but I haven't submitted to many marathons that weren't GDQ. Oh, there was one. There was Oh, it was one of the like GSA ones in
Oh,
Xanadu.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Gl-
Oh.
Glitch Infinite, I think was what it was called. Uh
Oh, that was
I
like okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did that. And that one I actually did in person. I always forget about this one for some reason, but I did reverse all cards for that actually.
Oh,
Uh
interesting.
yeah. Yeah. I really wanted to show off that category specifically just because of especially at the just how glitchy it is and with like the version exclusive stuff it had with like retrigger prologue. Um So yeah, yeah, so got to show that off. It went decently well, I think. Um, but the definitely the stop and swap is the main marathon
Hmm.
run that I've done. But yeah, I've never put like a huge emphasis on the marathons just because of that. I have had the idea, and maybe I'll get around to doing it someday. Maybe I won't. Of like making a ROM hack of Paper Mario that specifically just makes the risky stuff at the end guaranteed to finish, just so that I could show off what it looks like in a
Hmm.
marathon. But um, I don't know. It also does feel like I have no problem doing that. Especially, it's not like I'm hiding it. But it is also a little bit weird. Takes some of the tension out of it, where it's just like, yeah,
Mm.
this just is gonna work. I'm gonna get the right RNG. So I don't know. Maybe someday I'll get around to that.
Yeah. You were saying like there's not a ton of like run defining RNG in the game, but how bad really is it?
Uh, oh, I mean, in Paper Mario there is
Okay.
like so for the no ace, the 80% no ace, uh, PB record that I just got the other day. So for instance, timeout, which is the Star Spirit ability that you get for beating Chapter 6, which gives you a chance to just like freeze enemies.
Mm.
It works on. It's spoiling you a little bit again.
It's fine.
There's two different Bowser fights at the end. There's Hallway Bowser and then Final Bowser. So that move works on Hallway Bowser 30% of the time. And
Ah,
so in the speed run, you either get timeout to work on Hallway Bowser and get to continue your run, or 70% of the time it fails and you reset your run. And that's
okay. That's
yep.
that
And then if
sucks.
that it does suck. And then if you get that, then you go on to Final Bowser, which that one's a little bit harder to calculate the odds on, but it's probably somewhere in the ballpark of like 50-50 to win the fight. So you're kind of just getting runs to the end and hoping that they finish,
Okay.
which eventually they do. But
But the odds aren't horrible. But
they're not horrible, but they're not good.
yeah, no, they're not good. But
Yeah.
guess what is that
Other
then? A
cat
15% chance any run finishes
Something like that, yeah. And
approximately.
it's also affected by like how many life shrooms did you lose to Junior Troopa and
Mm,
stuff like that. So
okay.
because you need so many.
But
But yeah,
that's the main. RNG factor.
Yeah, yeah. At least in terms of like just straight up run ending.
Okay.
There's also definitely a lot of like RNG where it's like, oh well, if I get this move against this boss, then it's gonna lose me like 45 seconds because
Mm-hmm.
that's that slows things down a lot. Um, Different categories are better about it than others though, and then other categories where there's like somewhere we'll use instead of just like straight up um chance, like RNG chance of working or not. Like we'll use Dizzy Shell with Cooper to freeze some bosses, which that one ends up being like the better you can mash, the more likely it is to work. And so, I guess I never mentioned that, but mashing. There's a lot of mashing in the game, um, especially for
Just not
like
through
the
text.
not through text, but you do have to mash like the bars for like Dizzy Shell,
Yeah.
Power Shock, stuff like that. Um, So if you wanted to get really good, you do have to learn how to button mash. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't a thing. I've gotten good at it out of necessity, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it.
Yeah. No, I've definitely, I played the game, so I get its
Right,
annoyance
right.
in some aspects.
Yeah.
Some of it's pretty easy to get the 100%, but and I don't
Mm.
know if it's like the game locking you out of certain things, but I've tried at some points and it like doesn't go up as fast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, different enemies all have a different value that says like how difficult a mash will be on them
Mm,
for of a different type.
okay.
And some of them some of them are so difficult that even like mashing frame perfectly, you still won't be able to fill the bar. Generally on like bosses for that. Um,
I see.
so
That
But,
answers
still
that.
the better you mash, the yeah,
Yeah.
the better your odds.
hmm
So,
Yeah. Because
yeah.
the bar doesn't have to be 100% all of the time. Like it
Right,
becomes like
right.
an odd thing like depending on where it lands.
Yeah. Although the Power Shock one specifically, and other moves aren't like this. Power Shock specifically lies to you. So
Mm.
most of them are like, however much you fill the bar, that's the percent chance that it'll work.
hmm
But Power Shock, for some reason, basically has like, so when you run away, you've got like the Mario going
Yeah.
back left and right. There's basically an invisible version of that for Power Shock that you can't see that
Oh.
biases toward has a bias toward making you fail it. So filling it up like 75% of the way, you still will only work say 50% of the time. I forget exactly what it ends up being. Um,
Hmm.
but you know one day we were all just like, man, it really feels like Power Shock doesn't work as often as it should. And so I looked into it, and yeah, no, it doesn't.
Hmm.
Very
So
annoying.
was there supposed to be an indicator and it's just not there, or
I don't
is that just how they handle it?
know.
Okay.
I it just like looking at the code, they definitely are reusing that code that makes that happen,
hmm
but I don't know. Maybe they were gonna. Maybe they just copy pasted some code and were like, good enough, and did because it's not obvious that it has the bias just by looking at the code. I
Okay.
only realized that I did like a whole bunch of trials
Mm.
of like freezing it at a certain spot and looking at the results, and they like I was like, yeah, and it turned out to be that way.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
so yeah, I don't know.
And just for
That's why we
that and
use
nothing
Easy
else.
Shell.
Okay.
Yep. That's what like that me discovering that led to us using Dizzy Shell instead of Power Shock on bosses where we need to uh just stun them because Dizzy Shell does not lie to you. However full the bar is, that is the chance that it'll work.
That's good.
Yeah.
What a random one-off thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
It's very strange.
well, I'm not a
Um
programmer, so
Fair.
I guess I can't. Anyway, I won't get on their
Yeah.
case about it. The game's old.
It's old. They were probably in a rush.
Yeah,
It
right.
worked. I mean, like there were no obvious problems with it from
Well,
a
again, as a
like high
casual, you
perspective.
never know.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, as speedrunners, we didn't know until I think I figured that out in like 2019, 2020, something like that. So, the game had been out for like 20 years.
Oh, um, hmm. trying to think of anything. Is there anything else you've run that we haven't talked about?
There's a few other games that I've put some time into. I ran Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga glitchless for a little
Mm.
bit. Um, I
That's
didn't
the
put a ton of.
GBA one.
Yeah, that's the game. Yeah, it's the GBA one. Um, which I finally decided to get into that because they started allowing turbo for
Mm.
that game. Very much does have text mashing, and I hate text mashing so much, especially in that game where it's like it's 60 FPS and perfect mashing would be 60 FPS mashing, one frame on, one frame off, and so the faster you go, the faster the text. But they started allowing turbo for text specifically. I was like, oh, I should try that. It's a fun run. Um,
That's nice.
yeah, I got a time. Um, I did learn Ocarina of Time any percent, like the credits warp with Ace, because I was essentially already doing it for Stop and Swap,
Hmm.
just with a different payload instead of warping to credits.
So that's the
Um,
SRM, like the current kind of
yeah,
90% stuff.
yeah. So I can say I'm looking at the time here. I can say I've beaten Ocarina of Time in 4 minutes and 49 seconds. So that's kind of
That's
cool.
pretty good.
Yeah. It was. I remember for a long time it was 69th place, which that was cool.
Nice.
Now it's 95th,
Oh.
but less nice.
Oh.
Um, there's there's a bunch of like I don't know. Our extension categories for Paper Mario for the most part are like eh.
Hmm.
Um, so if you like go to my SRC page, you'll see a bunch of random ones, but like I don't know, I've never put a whole bunch of time into those. Uh oh, Bug Fables.
Oh.
I had a good bit there where I was running Bug Fables back r- shortly after it came out. So my time, if you look at the leaderboard, it's very slow relative to anyone else. But if you keep it for anyone who's played Bug Fables, keep in mind when I ran it, uh, Kabu did not have the ability to dash yet. That was not a thing in the game. So which you get decently early on now if you were to play it, which highly recommend. Go play Bug Fables.
I heard
Very
it's very much like Paper Mario inspired,
Yeah,
right?
very heavily inspired by Paper Mario. And it was like there have been like a number of games coming out now that are like I don't know, I guess you could call them Paper Mario likes. And that one was definitely that one was the first one and they kind of killed it. Very good story, very good characters, very good gameplay. Uh would
I've heard
recommend.
good things, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had friends recommend it, but again, I haven't played Paper Mario, but now I have.
Now
I
you
did it.
have. Now you can appreciate Book Fables more
Mhm.
because you can see how well they did.
Yeah.
um I've done one 80% run of Super Paper Mario. Um I think it was like a sub goal that I did. Yeah, it was like a sub goal that I did. That was fun. Probably will never do it again. Um,
Fair, it's
did a
very different.
yeah. Did a glitchless run of the Thousand Year Door. Also, that's a game that one of these days I want to pick up. But it also has text mashing. And
Mm.
is also the speed in a speedrunning context is surprisingly like very different from 64. Like the different glitches that it has. So um honestly, if I ever run it, I'm very heavily considering like using a turbo controller and just not submitting to the board for text, or because using a turbo
That's
for
fair.
text and not submitting,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I'd
Yeah.
rather run it and not submit than just not submit at all.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's also gonna be a project to do for sure, so I've got to be in the right mindset
mhm.
to take on that game.
The fun thing about speedrunning is you can do it however you want. The leaderboard,
Exactly.
if you just
True.
want it to be on a leaderboard, then you have to abide by the rules. But you don't have to.
You don't.
You can
You can
just
make up your
do it
run
for
and
fun. Yeah,
with whatever rules you want and just do it. No one's
it's
stopping you.
true. It's very true. And that's the beauty of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to be on a leaderboard, then read the rules. But you don't have
Yeah,
to.
I guess I get the SMRPG uh remake when
Mm.
that came out. I very briefly I started learning the speedrun for that and I did a few runs, but I didn't stick with it, and I probably won't go back to it. But that was fun.
Yeah,
It was a
they
well-made
have
remake.
a
Never played the
built-in
original.
turbo, don't they?
Uh,
I thought
it's
so.
not built in, but they
Oh, okay.
do allow turbo for.
Okay.
Well, they I don't know. I think it's kind of weird how they have it set up. They have like a tab for turbo, no turbo instead of
Oh,
like a
okay.
variable.
I
But
knew there was some sort of variable, so I wasn't sure how it worked.
yeah, yeah.
Because have actually watched a bit of the original Mario RPG speedruns.
It's a very cool speed run.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And again, that's another game I've only made it halfway through. I made it further in Paper
Mm.
Mario actually, but I don't know. There's something about that run. I mean, the platforming is just so unique, and then
It is. It really is. Yeah.
and I can't think of really many glitches either, which is the interesting thing. There's not a
Uh,
lot.
I don't think so. No,
Yeah, there's
I'm not
not a
super
lot.
up to date on
But
it, but
yeah, the way they do their action commands, like I know that was like the big thing they carried over from that game into Paper Mario was the action commands, and the way that game does, or like Mario RPG does it, is fascinating, especially with like the one needing to do 100 for the
yeah.
speed
Oh my
run. It's
goodness.
like
That
wow.
was yeah. It's not, even on the remake, which I think is probably I want to say I think it's the same frame window, but I think it's also just easier visually to maybe not. It's been a while. I can't
I
remember,
haven't seen much of
but
the remake, even though I know
it's
it was the
hard.
finale in 1GDQ. Yeah,
It's hard to
I
get that 100. Like I can do it, but ugh.
like yeah, it's funny. I actually roomed with Justin at AGDQ 2019, and that's where he did
Oh,
the
okay.
famous Mario RPG run. Like,
Oh, I watched it.
so,
I think
yeah,
I think I was at yeah, I think I was at that GD. I think. Wait, what
that was
year was that?
tw- winter 2019, snowstorm,
Yeah.
Bethesda. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah, I was there. I was definitely there for that.
yeah. Yeah, so I remember that one pretty well because he hit it. I remember, but like
Yeah.
just the tension and how long it takes, and like knowing how precise it is, it's just like I don't know how they do
Ugh,
it.
it's impressive.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, love that speedrun. So I thought it'd be natural to like learn more about this franchise. And
Yeah,
boy, is it
yeah.
very different, but also, you know, carries over a few things.
Yeah, if there's a debug room in Paper Mario that you can
Oh,
get to with
really?
cheats. That yeah, and it says it has oh I forget exactly. I think it just says Mario RPG like on the ground using I think it's the same font as SMRPG or at least very similar. Like it was Paper Mario was originally intended to my knowledge to be a direct sequel to that game,
Yeah,
but then
like it
there
was
was the,
originally called like
Square
Mario
Enix.
RPG 2.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
a confirmed thing.
Okay, okay. But yeah, Square Enix rights and stuff became its own thing.
Yeah, like
Um,
I guess I don't know in the story aspect how much of a direct sequel it was planning on being. I just know they were going to
mm.
call it Mario RPG 2 and maybe even did in Japan. I forget.
Mario's Story. It's called
A
Mario's
Mario
Story in
story.
Japan.
Okay, so they did
Yeah.
end up not doing that. But it was originally, yeah, Mario RPG 2. I think even in like some promotional material or something. But yeah. Again, I don't know how much the story would have actually related to it with the whole Square thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it
I don't
looks
know.
like they planned on it being kind of the way it turned out. But I don't know. I'm not in their
Makes sense.
heads. I'm making assumptions.
Yep. It's actually kind of funny because so in English we've got Paper Mario and then Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, but then in Japan it's Mario's Story, and then TTYD is called I believe Paper Mario RPG. So just Mario Story, Paper Mario RPG. So it's not even at least to me that's not
Okay.
even obvious that it's if you only know
Huh.
those two names, not necessarily obvious that it's a direct sequel, but yeah.
Yeah. I kind of get the N64 because they did Yoshi's Story, and it was kind of like a
Hmm.
similar looking style in a way. Not exactly the same,
Yeah.
but yeah, like TTYD is so obviously directly sequeled from that I don't know that's weird. It sounded like
Yeah.
they named it a certain way on N64, and we're like, well, shit. I
Yeah.
guess we're doing this now.
I mean, they also in 64 the paper aspect is more they don't it's more of an aesthetic thing,
Yeah, they
which
don't
is like
really
these
play
sprites.
into the fact.
Yeah. Whereas like T2AD, they really go hard into like you become a paper airplane, stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
so it kind of makes sense in that way.
Yeah, like even their art styles are a little different. Obviously, in 64,
Oh
it's
yeah,
gonna look a
yeah,
little different, but like the style they use for TTYD, they have kept that for the rest of the franchise.
yeah,
They
yeah.
have not at all changed it.
Well,
So,
well, don't tell Paper Mario fans that they'll get
well,
you about the white outline that they added.
all right. Well, the general design of
Yeah,
the
I
characters.
agree. I agree. I'm just
I'm
careful
not
how you
I'm
say
not
it.
here to fight the fandom, but like you can obviously tell like the character designs are different from the original game, and then everything else is like uses the
Yeah.
same general style. But
Roller joining us one more time.
always happy for the pet guest stars. Well, I'm trying to think if there's
Yeah,
anything really
yeah, I
speedrun related that we haven't touched on. I mean, you would know better than I.
ri- right. Um, that's more or less it. Uh, has Ace changed the relationship between the PM64 and OT communities? Um, I mean, Stop and Swap exists, so I guess there's that in terms of a relationship between the games. But
Yeah, I'm not aware if there's any like
yeah, I
relationships
mean,
between them, but
I'm friends with some of them. We're on good terms, you know. So, but other than
I'm
that,
not
I
aware of
wouldn't
any
say.
drama.
Yeah.
But I'm not in either community, so what am I saying? But
OOT people are cool. I like them. I like their community.
yeah, I mean, OOT is yeah really popular, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, even though I'm not as familiar with the game, I mean, I still talk to some OOT runners. I've had them on here, in fact, and like fascinating stuff. Really, really. Uh, just relationship
Oh,
strengthening. Well, I mean,
um,
you kind of
I mean, I
mentioned
met
that.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, met
yeah.
people that I wouldn't have otherwise known, but or talked to as much. So I'd say in that sense, yeah, but it's not like nothing major or anything like that. I was
The
already on good terms. At least I personally was already on good terms with everyone there. So
the game's connected in
already have
ways
friends in the
never
community.
before seen. Technically,
Actually, I forget. I want to say it was the Link. It was one of the like Game Boy Color Zelda games. I don't remember. I'd never played
what
it.
is that? Oracle?
Oracle is the one where you can like. It's almost Pokemon style where there's like two
Yeah, yeah.
versions
That's
of it
Oracle
that
of
you connect
Ages
to the
and
link cable.
Seasons. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember which one is which, but one of them already had an ace exploit to be able to beat it, to like skip to the end, whereas the other one didn't. But I remember finding out after Stop and Swap became a thing that directly led to one of their community members like being like, "Wait, can I use that?" And then they found a way to transfer Ace in the one where it does work over to the other game over the link cable and be able to beat it that way. So
Wow.
I guess in that way, it wasn't an OOT community, but
Yeah. I mean, it's
there, yeah.
interesting because obviously Stop and Swap was planning on being an intended feature in some games. Famously Banjo, of
Right. Well,
course.
Banjo, yeah, that was
Yeah.
they were the ones who came up with the Stop and Swap name, and Nintendo was
Hmm.
like, "Hey, could you not do that?"
We don't want our
Yeah,
our
that's
players
not.
to
We don't want people.
damage our hardware. Actually, don't
Exactly. Yeah.
maybe don't. But it ended up like leading. Well, like obviously that was for transferring certain data, but you don't think about transferring ace exploits over
Right.
it. But
Right.
here we are.
Here we are.
And it's still the fastest way. Like that's what world
It
record
is. Yeah.
in Paper Mario does. Yeah.
I mean, we have an extension category because I mean that it's. I think it's really cool. I like it a lot. It's. I don't
Okay.
consider it like true any percent personally,
Yeah.
but
I know in Mario 1 we had a whole thing where you could do Ace. It was like a more recent discovery, but you had to like load Mario 3 first to like set
oh,
some
oh
flags.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I understand. But now we have it for real. We've had a very similar thing. Well, yeah, now Mario 1, a bunch of people figured it out. Now we have it for real without any swapping. It's cool. It's
Oh,
slower,
is that I
but it's
think
cool.
but okay, okay. I think there like that was just recent, right? I think I
Oh yeah.
remember seeing a
I mean,
video
they've
pop up
been
about it that I haven't watched yet.
yeah, they've been uh working on it for a long time. So I've known
Okay.
about its existence for a while. Because obviously I wasn't involved in that, but I know the people that were involved in it. But
Right.
yeah, no, that whole thing was kind of finalized and recently came out, and yeah, like very much TAS only, doesn't even
Uh,
save time, but it exists, and that's cool.
It is cool. I
Yeah,
like that a lot.
it's a very complicated thing, and it kind of makes sense why it didn't come to fruition until now. If you really look at how it works, it's a very interesting watch. The Cosmic video, big recommend. But like,
Okay, I will have to watch
oh
that then.
my
It,
gosh.
it keeps popping up in my recommended. I keep
Hmm.
being like later, later.
Yeah. It's a lengthy one, and it is, you know complicated, but
Right.
it
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
be
it'd
in the
be
right
up
mood
your
where I
alley as
like
someone who's used
full
to
attention.
complicated aces. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no
Love that
swapping
stuff.
needed. So
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I got a little confused then. For the main any percent on Paper Mario leaderboard, does it is it only on Paper Mario then? That's tracked there.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Our actual any percent is the credit sort from the volcano, which I think world record is like in the it's like 35 minutes or something in that ballpark.
That's still
So
a
still very
lot faster.
fast,
Yeah. Wow.
but stop and swap ends up being like
Okay.
even 10 minutes faster than that, which also another reason why it's hard to like decide um or why it would be hard to justify making that true any percent is like, well, do we use OT's timing rules? Like when we
Mhm.
started it, we just started timing whenever OT starts timing, but technically, but then they decided to add intro skip and like remove
Mm.
that time, and we're like, okay, well, what do we do? And so we decided to also remove the intro skip time, and it's just it would get very like for an extension category, it's like whatever, who cares? But that would get
Yeah.
very messy if that was our actual any percent.
Well, that's why it's good to clarify. That makes a lot more
Yeah,
sense now.
yeah. Sorry, I should have been more clear about that.
No, it's
And but
fine.
also, it's like we have that literally any percent is the last category listed on our leaderboard, just because it's like it has like 3 submissions, like 3 people
Yeah.
who ran it
But
because it's
all the
yeah.
games I know, aced any percents are the last category in the list. So,
Very cool conceptually.
mhm.
Nobody wants to compete for it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but yeah, just being able to pull it off and put your name on it, I mean, that is pretty cool. So, and it
It
is
is.
true any percent technically. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No one else will be able can ever I will always have done it first.
well, there you
No
go.
one can take that, even though people have done it faster.
True. Well, since I kind of brought up content stuff, I know you've made a few like content creation videos.
I have, yeah. So the first, like in terms of like scripted content,
Mhm.
the first, the first was actually describing like the power shock thing, that I mentioned with it flying. That was the
Yeah.
first scripted. I made a scripted video about that, and that was the first one that I've made. Uh, and kind of dipping my feet into it. Also made one that's now very outdated about why we beat the all cards chapters in the order that we beat them and how that goes.
Mm.
Since seed duping was discovered, the video is very
Yeah.
outdated. Some of it translates, but most of it doesn't. And then the one video that I had that like actually really blew up is whenever Paper Mario came out on Switch VC, um, there were a bunch of people crashing and then losing all of their save data.
Oh,
And it was,
yeah, I've heard about this.
yeah, I was like, why is this happening? And so decided to look into it. And I don't remember how exactly the process of figuring it out was, but I found that because every people were tending to crash specifically against specifically against General Guy in Chapter 4. And so it was
Mhm.
like, was there something with this boss that causes crashes? And it would only happen if they game overed. Um,
Ah.
but what I discovered is it wasn't actually Crystal King. It was having Watt as your partner. And so like that's the first boss that you fight after
Mhm.
getting Watt as your partner. And so on the game over screen, you are actually um so there's you there, but your partner, whatever partner you have, is off screen, also below you, like 1,000 units. Like,
Mhm.
that's just where the game likes to put things that it's not using at the moment. Um, and there was something about Watt's like electricity effect that other partners didn't have that the Switch didn't like that.
Hmm.
And you combine that with the fact that the Switch doesn't actually flush your save data to like long-term storage until you close the Switch Online app. So if you crash, you
Oh.
just lose everything since the last time you did that. Um, and so, yeah, people didn't like that. And
Hmm.
I was able to be like, hey, save state or like close the actual app to make sure your data gets saved. And that has actually since been fixed, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it was an accidental fix just based on like they didn't do anything. I was able to like open up and look at the like code changes they've done, and they didn't do anything specifically to change it. They just changed how the I forget all the details. I was pretty sure that it just accidentally got fixed, but it is fixed now. You won't crash from dying with Watt anymore, so that's good.
Yeah. No, I remember this being a problem, and then that they fixed it, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
it was a big why is this happening, because it didn't happen in any other like official emulated releases, right? So it's just why the
Right, right. Yeah,
Switch?
I don't remember why that. I don't remember why it crashed at all. Just that it
Mhm.
did, and that I was able to be like, "Hey, if I do this, it doesn't crash anymore."
Hmm. Well,
But
there you
yeah,
go.
and I've always like I want to do more scripted videos, but it comes I feel like I'm good at it, but it just comes so much less naturally to me in terms of like writing scripts is hard.
Yeah.
Streaming, I just turn on the stream and I'm like, yep, here we go. We're gonna go do it. It's a lot less like long-term planning, I guess.
Yeah, I
So
felt similarly, where the idea sounds cool, but then you try it and you have to start with like a script, and it's like, oh, it just feels like high school
always,
again.
I
I don't
know,
know.
I always hated writing essays in
Yeah,
school,
yeah.
which like it's better when at least with this, it's something that I care more about. So it's better, but it's
Mhm.
still writing
Yeah,
text.
like I get it. So, yeah, I've I you've at least done it. I haven't yet, but we'll see. You
You can
see,
do it, I believe.
that's why I do this, right? I can yap with people and get content out of it without having to do anything. I don't have a script for this. I don't have questions. I just yap and whatever.
Seems like it's working. Yeah.
I so
Maybe
I don't know.
you've gotten a this is you said 167th, so
Yeah, just a
yeah.
few.
Just a few. One a week. I mean that's a year. Yeah, this is one a week.
Yeah,
That's like years
yeah.
worth.
3
I haven't
years,
even
2
doing that.
months.
3 years. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm fine.
Uh,
If I didn't enjoy it, I would have stopped.
Fair. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I haven't gotten burned out of this yet. I kind of have of
Nice.
speedrunning, so I should
Mm.
probably, fix that. But
It happens. I've been there.
yeah, it has been quite the rut though. But I'm trying. One of these days, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I think that's kind of everything, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's the story of
Um,
you and
that is the
speedrunning
story of
related
my
stuff.
running. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're satisfied with what we discussed, then I guess
I think so.
that's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing burning that I wanted to say. I had a really good time on this. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, r- this is a game I've wanted to like get into for a while, so I'm glad I
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
did, and Now I'm really diving in, clearly. So,
Right, right. You have some context for whenever you finally go to like look
hmm
at some speed runs and see what type of stuff I'm talking about.
yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Well, the final thing I'll ask then is any future plans for content or anything.
Future plans. I mean, I'm kind of back on. I've been the last like year or two kind of on and off with streaming, but like I've been
Hmm
back on and like back into trying to improve my times and get good. So the main thing for me is mostly just more Paper Mario speedrunning. I'm sure I'll do other stuff at some point in the future, but that's the primary thing on the schedule. I'm going to, I swear, make a good beginner tutorial, video tutorial for people who want to get into any percent no ace. So that's coming, I swear. I've been
All
saying
right.
that for too long, but I swear it is.
Well, there
But
you
yeah,
go.
that's what I've got coming.
All right. So, and what categories are you going to be focusing on?
Right now I'm doing any percent no peach warp, but that's more just because my PB is old
Oh,
and I
I don't
want
think
to.
we talked about Peach Warp. I think we said we were going
We
to and it didn't.
Yeah, I mentioned it. It's just a trick that lets you beat chapters 6 and 7 by beating the volcano again, because that chapter doesn't look to see what chapter you're actually in when you beat it.
Mhm.
Um, but the category itself is a legacy. It's probably my least favorite category, but anyway.
Oh,
So
okay. Well,
once I get a PV that's like not terrible in it, I'm gonna probably move on. I want to get really good times in probably all cards, all bosses, those two categories. I also want to go back to any percent no ace. There's a glitch I need to learn, Cooper skip, which
mhm.
is I know I'm capable of it, but it is one of the most difficult RTA viable glitches in the game. Um, and it would also save multiple minutes.
Oh, okay.
Specifically in that category. You need Cooper in all the other categories,
Mhm.
but it's a bunch of like jumping out of bounds uh by going into a loading zone, so you're doing LCS jumps to your frame perfect, but then you go back and some of them are blind, like literally the camera is below the ground and you have to frame perfectly jump without being able to see where you are. It's
Oh.
There's a reason I haven't learned
Oh.
it.
Okay. And
But yeah,
but this is for any percent no ace.
yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Which you currently have the record, so
Yes. Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. It's like I could grind out a faster time without it because it's not like my PB in that category is amazing, but it's like with that RNG, it's like if I'm gonna really try and push it, I should really push it with like
I
the
mean,
with the hard glitch,
that sounds a bit ludicrous. Just a little.
just a little.
But
But
what you said it would save like minutes.
yeah, like I want you lose a little bit of time later to not having Cooper, I think,
Mhm.
but I want to say it's on the order of like 3
I mean,
ish,
that is
3 4
really
minutes.
significant, especially for
It's
that
very
category's length.
significant.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And it's at least like it's like around 20 minutes into the run, which like to
mm,
me is like, oh, that's pretty early. So
yeah, I guess. I mean,
my sense of scale on how long a run is a little bit longer than most people's. So, but
yeah.
yeah.
See, I know earlier I said you can't really compare runs, but my frame of reference I'm using is like 120 star in Mario 64 because the run lengths are like pretty on par with each other. It sounds like. But and then like
Right.
carpetless was their big thing that saved a minute, but that's like the last thing
Right.
you do. So
Yeah.
I guess a harder trick farther earlier on. I don't know. I guess I could
Yeah,
see
it
it.
would
I don't
be
know to the extent just how difficult it is. It
it'd be a
sounds
lot.
stupid, but
It is kind of dumb. It's kind of stupid. but,
well,
but it's more that like I know I can do it. I know I'd be able to. So,
like you've done it in like practice, right?
not yet.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
I know with the individual parts. I I'm confident I can learn it basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we
Gotta
may
sit
see
down
it
and
in
learn
a
it.
future record.
You may. You just
Mm.
may.
And you never know. Maybe it'll be easier. later or something.
Maybe,
That
maybe.
game
We'll see.
has clearly been finding things to this day.
That's true. That's true.
So
Yeah.
you never really know. But yeah, I guess that's everything then. That's
Yeah, I think it
what's to
is.
look forward to. So I guess the last thing then is you can self promote yourself however you want.
Yeah, so the main place is Twitch, twitch.tv/JCog. I also post on Blue Sky at jcog.dev, my YouTube at jcog. Um, those are the main three
Mm,
that I use. Um, I guess I also have a VODs channel on YouTube, which is like where I upload random stuff.
mm,
But I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, those are the main places. If you want to find me, you want to see Paper Mario content, I got you.
Yes. And I will link them in the proper places. You know where to find them. Everyone reads the description, right?
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
of course. Well, guess that's everything then. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can
Thank
we
you again for having me on. It was really fun.
yeah, no problem. I'm always eager to learn about new speedrun stuff, and this was a game I just hadn't gotten around to yet. So now I'm getting all the knowledge in many ways. So that's good.
Yeah,
So we'll see what I do with that. But yeah, I'm happy to learn.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Well, all right. I guess that'll be all for today. So thanks everyone for watching the show. As always, you know how to continue watching the show if you really want to. I assume. So there's a few episodes I've done that you can watch, and apparently I'm still doing this. So there's that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to stop now. I'm good at intros and outros. We all know this. Okay. All right. Bye.